We have entered the UFC Dark Ages, 6 weeks with no UFC, which means I have no predictions, no breakdowns, no recaps, nothing. So I figured we go ahead and get some non-regularly scheduled content out, talking a little bit more about things going on with the UFC, behind the UFC, around the UFC. We can go ahead and start with the absolute abysmal state of what is the UFC commentary team at this point. Ignore this gentleman here. This is a great commentator, John Anik, but these two airheads right here, Joe Rogan, Daniel Cormier, have been notoriously terrible at commentary over the past few months, if not years, honestly, at that point. And it was no different on Saturday night with Daniel Cormier having some of the dumbest takes I've ever heard about Yan-Dvalishvili versus Peter Yan 2. We'll go ahead and jump in right into it. I actually just had to re-record this video because I don't know how to figure out on OBS to also capture the recording on my, the audio recording of my computer. So when I play this audio back, it's going to come through my speaker that I have at a decent volume for you guys to hear. But if it's not great, I apologize. But we'll go ahead and jump right into it. Daniel Cormier reacts Peter Yan beating Yan-Dvalishvili. And a few minutes into his video, he's talking about the fight, recapping it. He says this.
That to beat Marab, you have to win rounds 1, 2, 3. Tonight, Peter Yan won round 3, 4, and 5.
Now, let me stop you right there, Cormier, because that's an absolute mushbrain take. Twitter was going off. In the middle of the fight, Cormier says Marab's up 2-0. Marab won round 1, that's it. That one judge that gave him round 2, idiot. Fire him. Investigate him. Marab did not win round 2. And this is Cormier's wrestling glaze coming back to haunt us. We can look at the stats right now. This is round 2 of Yan-Dvalishvili versus Peter Yan. Peter Yan outstruck him significantly despite Marab winning, total strikes with his little pitter-patter shots. He outstruck him significantly, and he got more takedowns. I don't know in what world that doesn't win you a round. But it's the Cormier glaze of Marab probably trying to wrestle, thinking that wins him the round, because you don't win on trying to wrestle. You win by dominantly wrestling, which is what Marab is known for, but he couldn't get it off in this fight. Peter Yan had both arms. He stuffed the takedowns well. Excuse me. And he was outstriking Marab on the feet, especially putting damage on him, which is #1 scoring criteria in a fight. And I hate that Cormier doesn't think that, because wrestling is not that definitive in a fight. If some guy's busted, cut up, bloodied, he lost that fight for the most part, unless it's Nate Diaz, because who knows. But yeah, just absolutely terrible take by Cormier here, and we're going to dive into a bit more on his commentary. We'll do a flashback from the past. I mean, this was back in the beginning of this year. I want to say after Bo Nickel versus Rainer de Ritter, in which we saw Bo Nickel not get any takedowns off, or he might have gotten one takedown in the first round, controlled well, and then immediately just flaked into the second round. And Guru himself said, "I will not trust USA credential wrestling," which I also agree with, because it doesn't seem to implement well into MMA. The Dagestanis may implement well into MMA, but they have their own form of wrestling, their own different type. And USA wrestling has not done well. And after saying this, Good Guy, Bad Guy podcast, Chael's son and Daniel Cormier made a response to this, in which Chael was agreeing with him, but you'll see on the outro of this video, Cormier was coping. But I'll go ahead and shut up and let it play.
Wrestlers isn't enough. He wins this argument. I thought it was. But he does win this argument. Wrestling is not enough, not by itself. He's wrong, Chael.
That says all you need to know. You can see the desperation, the disbelief, the cope in Daniel's eyes. In the words of Conor McGregor, this is a cry for help if I've ever seen one. Chael just coming out with an honest take. Hey, he's right. UFC guys haven't been doing as good. Back in the day, that was the main path to the UFC. You pick up some striking after a high school or college wrestling, and you're a champ. It doesn't work like that now, especially against these strikers, because they figured out how to null regular American wrestling. Dagestanis have figured it out, but Americans haven't, and they're losing to a lot of strikers. We saw Grant Dawson get slept this past weekend, and he's an American wrestler. So this take by Guru has only continued to age like a fine wine, and Cormier's cope has only continued to extend. You saw him going, "He's wrong, Chael. He's wrong," when he's not. This is Cormier's blatant bias for USA wrestling. It doesn't make any sense. And he also seems to be anti-striking in a sense. After the Pereira versus Ankalaev fight, we saw here him discussing the 12-6 elbow.
I sat and I went, I don't know that I like 12-6 elbows. Those were nasty, bro. Brutal elbows from the top. Bam, bam.
And that's what we like. That's what we're here for. We're here for brutality. We're here for just bleed. We want to see a fight. I don't want some grapple fest. Look, I'm a jiu-jitsu guy. I just got my blue belt this past weekend, but I can understand when my martial art isn't the dominant one and when you shouldn't be using it or glazing it in MMA. Because it makes sense. I have a brain. I have critical thinking. Jack Della Maddalena has some of the greatest opinion here ever. There should be a button to turn off DC commentating during fights. Because even against Makhachev, JDM versus Makhachev, by the way, Cormier was just glazing Makhachev and his dominance, which it was dominance. It was great wrestling, but it was boring. He sat in half guard. He got a crucifix. He would scarf hold. He just wouldn't let Jack get going, and he wouldn't finish the fight. It's boring. He's the only double champ, because that counts as a double champ. He's the only two-time champion of a different division to win via decision. All the rest have come by finish. Amanda Nunes by finish. GSP by finish. Topuria by finish. The list goes on. There's a lot of them. Henry Cejudo by finish. The list goes on. And Cormier's just here. That's a crazy freeze frame. We'll get off that. But that's just a crazy freeze frame. Cormier's here just defending it, believing that it's the best when it's not. It doesn't win you a fight. It's boring. It's really pathetic stuff. And I mean, this tweet itself just says it. Cormier's getting the baby oil out where the Dagestanis are fighting. That's how it feels. And it makes it so annoying as an MMA fan, because this is now 2/3 of the commentary team that are just mush brain. We'll jump over to Rogan, who's notoriously dumb. But I mean, this was Rogan himself.
So many people care what my fucking opinion is. Like, that to me is a sign of the times. Like, if you're coming to a cage fighting commentator and a dirty comedian, like, this is the guy that you need an opinion for, that means the media's failed you.
Then why are you doing it? You're not a comedian. You're a failed comedian. You surround yourself by yes men comedians who have plummeted their careers off of being known and associated with you. Andrew Schultz isn't funny anymore. Tom Segura, Bert Kreischer, those guys, they've all had a severe decline in their careers because they've become airheaded like you with hanging out with you. Your jokes aren't funny. I've seen your stand-up. It's not funny. Like, and for you to say you shouldn't be listening to me for MMA takes, then why are you doing it? Why do you still bring up 20-year-old takes? You and Cormier are stuck in the past when wrestling did dominate because MMA was so new and guys didn't understand it. And when Benson Henderson had calf kicks and when the Steel Cup helped with an armbar. He said that 2 pay-per-views ago. I was watching it and I freaked out because verbatim, word for word, he said it. Excuse me. It's just pathetic stuff by Rogan. And we've known he's dumb, so he gets a bit of a pass on this. It's just another Roganism. But Cormier seems to keep on just being annoying, having bad takes. I mean, I don't understand what world you can watch Peter Yan versus Yan-Dvalishvili and say round 2 went to Merab. Peter Yan significantly outstruck him. He out-wrestled him. It's just terrible. And what sucks is this is probably going to go on for years and years and years. I haven't heard anything about Cormier or Rogan saying that they're looking at leaving. I know Dana just signed that 5-year contract extension, so the Dark Ages still continue. It sucks. Cormier just needs to grow up. He needs to accept the reality that wrestling isn't the best, and if a guy's doing half-ass wrestling in a fight, that doesn't mean he's winning the fight. You know what I mean? Getting outstruck, out-wrestled, but it looks like you're trying to wrestle and clinch up against the cage, you don't win a round. But apparently Cormier in his fat head, which Jones is probably taking up half the space in there, can't use the other half of his brain and put 2 and 2 together. It's ridiculous. I like Cormier. He's funny. He's an established, 2-time champion. He's got legacy. I really hate the whole saga with Jones because I don't like Jones. I don't like his character during that, and I felt for Cormier because I have empathy and I sympathize. But I can't just ignore these terrible takes that are ruining the casual MMA fan base. I mean, I'll be at work, and people who know that I watch UFC will try to talk about, you see the fights this weekend? I'm like, yeah. And then they talk, and they say the dumbest thing ever. And I know it's from Cormier. It's from one of these 2 idiots on a TikTok clip that was just made by some AI slop that's just feeding them these terrible takes. And they say the dumbest thing, and I have to try not to. I do like the speed face, it's terrible. It's a headache as a fan. If I went to other people and said some of the dumbest things about their sport, I'm sure they'd hate me too. That's like me telling a guy my age, hey, Jordan's the GOAT. Because, in all honesty, I don't think he is. I think everybody who's my age and isn't stuck in the 90s knows that LeBron just ran laps around Jordan's legacy. But that's a whole different conversation. But yeah, it's not fun when these niche fans and these diehard wrestlers just spew filth saying that wrestling's better and wrestling won them the fight, because it doesn't. And it didn't in this case. Didn't even win him the round. And I hate that Cormier's trying to argue that it did. And we've seen time and time and again Cormier just be tone deaf and blind to the fact that wrestling isn't as good as it used to be, and I don't know when this cope train will end. I don't know when he'll wean off of his dosage of copium, and I don't know if he ever will. And Rogan's just dumb, so he gets away with it. But Cormier has a brain. I know this. He's smart, but it's his favoritism, his adopted sons that are the Dagestanis that fuel this narrative in his brain, and it just sucks to see a legend continue to tarnish his personality and his behavior with just such annoying things like this, such petty things, such small things like this. And I really hope that eventually he comes around and just stops being so biased towards wrestling. I understand, like, that's his bread and butter, but you don't see, like, you see Bisping, who's also annoying and never shuts up. He's a striker primarily. He started jiu-jitsu as a kid, but he was a striker in his time in the UFC, and he gives praise to wrestling. Strikers are willing to sacrifice some of the bit of their own ego to give praise to the wrestling and the control and the grappling. Cormier won't even sacrifice his ego when a wrestler's getting pieced up, negated on the ground. Like, it's just sad. But I'll go ahead and wrap up the video here. Hopefully y'all could hear the clips. I'm going to watch it back in OBS editor and do all that. But if you enjoyed the video, let me know. If there's any other examples of some really bad Cormier takes, drop a comment down below. That'll be really funny, or Roganisms. But yeah, I hope y'all survive the 6 weeks. I'm going to try to upload a good bit of content, maybe 2, even 3 videos a week if I have the ideas to keep y'all busy. Appreciate all the support so far. Love the hate comments. It's great stuff. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the video here. Hope y'all weren't as annoyed with Cormier as I was watching these fights. But yeah, y'all have a good 6-week break. Happy holidays, and see ya.